All right, so this is my first video after the introduction of taking a look at some important questions about the universe and reality, in which we're going to compare what a theistic point of view has to offer versus an atheistic or materialistic worldview. So the first one we're going to look at is the origin of the universe. So according to the Big Bang Theory, the universe as we know it began roughly 13.7 billion years ago with an immense explosion. All matter, energy, time, and space were confined in an atom-sized area known as a singularity that exploded and went through a period of rapid inflation. Over time, the matter cooled and coalesced, and eventually elements formed, and then stars, and that led to other elements forming, and planets and galaxies, etc. So prior to Big Bang cosmology, most cosmologists believed the universe was infinite and eternal with no beginning or end in time and space. They thought it went on forever. However, Big Bang theory forced cosmologists to recognize that the universe seemed to have a definite beginning, which many realized had theological implications. If the universe had a definite beginning and it was confined in time and space, then there had to be some sort of explanation for the first cause. What created the universe, or what caused it to come into existence in the first place? It also raised the question of where the matter and energy in the singularity, that kind of almost infinitely small point that contained all the energy, matter, time, and space in it, basically the size of an atom, how that first came to where that first came from, and how the Big Bang got started. So to get around these issues, some hypothesize that the universe is in an eternal cycle of Big Bangs where it expands, and then after expanding for a while, it'll then come back together and collapse in what's known as a big crunch. And that this could have been an infinite cycle that was going on forever and ever. These big bangs and big crunches were an infinite cycle. So they thought that the universe could possibly expand from a tiny point to a vast area and then begin to contract again, pulled back by the force of its own mass to a tiny point to begin the process all over again. However, this idea has been largely abandoned because, based on the best available evidence, there is not enough mass in the universe to overcome the rate of expansion. Thus, the universe will continue to expand indefinitely, with galaxies drifting further and further apart until entropy builds and the available energy in the universe is lost. Another possible explanation is that our universe is just one of many, and possibly an infinite number of universes that are like bubbles in soapy water, constantly being formed and bursting. This is known as the multiverse. So some of you may have heard of the multiverse concept or theory before. Each universe within the multiverse could have its own laws of physics, and anything that could possibly happen has or will happen in a universe somewhere, and each possible universe would be repeated an infinite number of times. If you think about it, just the concept of a multiverse to me is rather absurd if taken to this kind of infinite scale. If you have every single possibility that could have ever occurred happening, and each one has happened an infinite number of times, that means that our universe, for example, is replicated an infinite number of times, and every variable, every choice you make or any other person makes, or every possible variable that could have ever occurred has occurred in another universe somewhere, and it's occurred an infinite number of times. So while there is some theoretical mathematics that suggest that such a multiverse is possible, as of now, there is no way to empirically test the multiverse hypothesis. So it's basically outside of the realm of science. It can't even really be considered a scientific theory because Generally speaking, if something cannot be tested empirically, then it is deemed to be outside the realm of science and is in the realm of the supernatural or spiritual. So science can't really say anything about it. Even if the multiverse does exist, however, it doesn't eliminate the possibility of a supreme being. There could still be a supreme being who created the multiverse. There still could be a God behind the multiverse. According to theism, a supreme intelligent being created the universe and all that is in it, including all matter and energy, laws of physics, and natural processes. And this supreme being initiated and controlled and guided the Big Bang and subsequently what happened after it. Overall, I think the theistic explanation offers a more convincing explanation of the origin of the universe, including all matter, energy, time, and space, than the materialistic explanation with a somewhat absurd multiverse that, in my opinion, takes more faith to believe in. I think it takes more faith to believe in this infinite multiverse with an infinite replicate of all possible universes than it does take faith to believe in a supreme being, a creator of all of this. All right, that concludes our first video. Now, stay tuned for the second one. Thanks.